first question is, how much anticipation did you have of the new schedule coming out? Were you like the rest of us as big fans?
You know what? Ever since the NFL draft and how well that went, I thought, the next big milestone is the schedule release. And it's always like Christmas in our house when the schedule comes out. We love to see what Sunday Night Football is going to be doing. And it was delayed a little bit this year, but it was worth the wait.
Which game on Sunday Night Football looks the most intriguing to you, or one of the most?
Well, certainly the Minnesota at Seattle game looks intriguing to me. I always love coming to Seattle. That the environment is like no other. And I happen to live in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, so I know more about the Vikings than probably other teams. But so there's kind of an interest for me there. But we've got a lot of good ones. Whenever Tampa Bay is going to be on the schedule, that's intriguing just because we have no idea how well that's going to go, and the expectations are so high. Dallas is always a fun place. But I have to tell you, I looked at the last 4 or 5 game stretch, and I'm going to be freezing. So I'm hoping some warm weather teams can get really good so we can flex.
Well, let me ask you that. I was going to ask you later, but what was the coldest game you ever broadcasted? Do you remember something that just stands out?
Oh, yeah. We had a playoff game. In fact, it was Seattle at Minnesota. The Minnesota new building was under construction, so they played it outside at the college field here at the University of Minnesota, and it was 6 below at kickoff. That was the 3rd coldest game in NFL history. I remember it well, and I'm sure Seattle fans do too, with the missed field goal at the end. And I remember trying to keep Russell Wilson and a couple other players with me out there in the freezing cold for post-game interviews. And I'm sitting there going, you guys, throw it to me. I can't keep these guys out here any longer. But that was insane.
That was ridiculous, but I did love that Bud Grant came out in his golf shirt that day. What'd you think of that?
Oh, that's so Bud. I'm fortunate to know Bud pretty well, and that is just him. And, he only had to be out there a couple minutes. It didn't faze him.
How about when we talk about weather, was there a hot game? Like when you get into these matchups in the evening, sometimes it tends to cool off. But has there ever been a game where you're just roasting?
It's interesting because sometimes those games happen inside domes where there's not the best air circulation, and suddenly you find yourself running around and you're like, whoa, it's kind of hot down here. And I think teams prepare for that a little bit. They know they need to stay hydrated when they play in domes because it's just a different kind of environment. The fresh air is not there like it is on an outdoor stadium. So I can't recall anything that was exceedingly hot. I'm sure maybe a preseason game in Jacksonville.
How about as far as when you take you back to Seattle, you say you love coming here and the atmosphere on Sunday night is great, but is there anything specific? Because I've seen you on the sidelines with sometimes it's I think it was the 49ers game years ago where you had the microphone and the decibels and all that stuff. But what is it about CenturyLink Field that makes it so cool?
Well, everyone knows it's the 12s first and foremost. It's the noise. It's the fact that you're going to walk out of there feeling deaf and your ears ringing for several hours. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And I think just the setting, I find it so cool and pretty, and it's one of my favorite places to follow games and do games. The city's just terrific and so much about it, but Seattle, it's become such a team that every single time you're there, you're going to get a good football game. And so I think those are the things I take away. And of course, everyone's curious to find out if Marshawn Lynch is going to sign.
Yeah, right. Especially this town loves him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had to broadcast a game in an empty stadium, for the first few weeks at least? Like, what would that be like for you?
I've been thinking about what it would be like if I was down there on the field and there were no fans in the stands. First of all, you'd be able to hear everything on the benches a lot better. You'd be able to hear the action. It would be kind of interesting, really. I can't wait till fans can get back, believe me. But I have thought about this and how it could change things up for the players, for the broadcast. I certainly hope, we're not going to put in any fake crowd noise because I don't think that would serve the audience very well. But I know there's some experimentation with getting actual fans and actual cheering piped into the broadcast somehow through an app. So like Seattle fans could hold their phone and have it in front of them with this app open and yell and scream or boo or whatever they want to do. And somehow we're able to conglomerate all that sound into one bit of fan noise. That's a really fascinating thought too. I wonder how I'm going to do these interviews from 6 feet away. I just wonder how we're going to measure that, how that's all going to work. It could be something.
Yeah. You would have some challenges as a sideline reporter for sure. All the years you've done it and all the years you've been in this business. Have you ever been run over, hit with a ball, any kind of experience like that you can share?
I've never been run over. I have a guy that works with me on the field who is so like eagle eye and protective. I remember being in Atlanta and I was pregnant with my first child, and the action was coming toward me. And I remember just feeling someone pick me up and move me and getting me out of the way and getting the little baby out of the way. But you know, I'm not afraid to run through a bunch of players. It's just part of the deal. I've had to chase players down. I've had to chase coaches down. So a bunch of those players coming at me, I don't know. I guess you just get used to it and you're so focused on the person you have to get to that you just find a way to wiggle through it all. But so far, oh gosh, knock on wood, no injuries.
Well, you know, I've seen blooper reels, but I haven't seen you on any of them. That's why I ask. I'm like, how have you been able to avoid this for so long? And obviously you have.
Well, the one, and I hate to bring up a bad memory for you, but when Malcolm Butler intercepted Russell Wilson on the end zone throw, you know, I had to chase down Malcolm Butler. And when I had him with me, you know, I was waiting for the toss from Al Michaels, and it wasn't coming. And finally he tossed down to me. And just as he tossed down to me, Malcolm ran away. And I had to go chase him down and corral him for the interview. I've still never seen the highlight of that. I'm told it's pretty funny.
Yeah, man, even as the network, the televising network, I'm sure that you think you have some rights down there and some privileges, but sometimes it's just the emotion takes over, huh?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. And I respect all of that. You know, I know that coaches don't look forward to their halftime chats with Michele. You know, I know that. So you really have to be respectful and make sure that you're asking important, relevant questions. And then even in the post game, you know, you got to be ready for anything. I will say that at a Pro Bowl one year, JJ Watt got a bloody nose and did the interview with me with the blood dripping out of his nose. And, you know, I had to take my blouse to the dry cleaners.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm kind of queasy when it comes to that stuff. Did you have to hold it together at all, man? That sounds like that would be a tricky one.
You know what? You just do your job. I don't know how, but I was kind of laughing at the bit because he was showing that he was really playing hard. People were questioning that year, are these guys going to actually play hard in the Pro Bowl? He played hard.
How about are you optimistic that this season is going to start on time?
I don't know about on time, and I don't have any more information than anybody else does. I know the league is trying extremely hard to prepare for a normal season, but I think we all can expect that it's not going to be totally normal. Whether that means it starts late, whether that means the schedule shrinks, whether that means there are no fans or some fans, something is bound to look different. I am optimistic that we will have some semblance of a season. You know, with the way things change every day, it's really hard to predict what's next.
We've crossed paths a lot in different towns, and the last time I saw you was in Philadelphia for the playoff game, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
What is your schedule like? Can you just give us a brief look at your week?
Yeah. The week starts the minute we finish our last game. So Sunday night, we give ourselves a little time to relax, but Monday, we start reviewing what we've done the previous week, whether that's as a group or, on our own, looking back at our mistakes, what we did well, what we didn't do well. We start prepping for the next game. I mean, that means all kinds of preparation. And I think this crew is really, really committed to unbelievable amounts of preparation and not leaving a stone unturned. Thursday morning, I have a conference call with my producer to talk sideline stories and strategies. Thursday night, I get on a plane and I get to that city. Friday, we go to the home practice and meet with the home team after practice, players, coaches, individuals in little small production meetings. Saturday, we meet with the visiting team. When they land, we meet them at their hotel and meet with them. And then Sunday, we get up early and have our first production editorial meeting. And then we all kind of get a break in the day. And, for me, then it's hair and makeup and off to the stadium. And we're there early, usually 3 hours before kick, and getting the last minute stuff done. I think that schedule that I've just described to you is going to be very, very different this year. I don't have any guarantees that we're going to be allowed at practices, or in team hotels. So it's like I said, no one knows what's next, and we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, you're right. I'll be happy if I can just go to these games myself, because you never know how much media they're going to let in. They'll let
I know.
But maybe TV folks, we always get pushed to the back of the press box, so it's kind of like they may not even think about having us in there. So,
jeez.
Well, you speak about hair and makeup. How you doing? Because I'm cutting my own hair, and everybody's kind of doing what they can. What are you doing to keep yourself together here? Well, you can't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have not had a haircut my hair is so much longer than it usually is right now, and I do the coloring myself at home, which is just miserable, terrible. I don't do it well. The manicure pedicure thing, I can't wait to get back to that. And I miss my makeup artist very, very much, and I just lost my interest. Sorry.
That's all right. I was just curious, because it is kind of funny. Everybody's doing their own thing, but it looks good.
Yeah.
A lot of women are they don't really want to tackle that coloring their hair on their own, and that's a brave thing,
It really it's either brave or vain, or just really stupid. Who knows?
Well, it looks good, Michele. So I appreciate you making time for us today, and we'll look forward to hopefully when this thing starts and it starts on time.
We'll hope so. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much for the time.